Testing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream. So tonight I'm going to be on lichess.org, playing some games, doing some puzzles, and feel free for anyone to drop into the chat, ask some questions. I am happy to take some sidetracks, get a bit distracted if people want to ask me some questions about some pronunciations or have a bit of a chat. So I'm going to start off with a game in case people aren't familiar with the chess. I'll kick off a game. So move one of the pawns. They can move forward 1 or 2 squares each and capture diagonally forward. So I'm going to put this forward to threaten their pawn and then capture some other ways. So I'm playing Stockfish level 1, which is not a very strong engine. I'll go capture their queen, threaten their queen. They've either got an option of move the king sideways, or capture with the pawn. So the queen can move in each of the 8 directions and any number of squares that aren't blocked. It's considered one of the most powerful pieces. The knight can move unusually, and it can jump over pieces. So even though it, if there was another pawn there, it still would be able to move. So it can move 2 up, 1 across, or 2 across and 1 up or down. So I'll move it over here again. I'll capture their knight as well, see if I can then move on to capture the bishop. So moving the knight out of the way has meant that the king's now in check, it's under threat, and that means that the opponent has to do a move that takes the king out of check. So the game is over if I capture the king. So they've got an option of move the king into an unthreatened square, capture the piece that was threatening it. It may be multiple pieces threatening it. So if king was on this square, it would have to move out of the way, because if it captured the knight, still under threat by the queen. The other option is to put something in the way to block whatever's threatening. In the case of knights, they can't be blocked. But if there was a bishop that was here and to move across, it could have gotten in the way there. Bishops can move diagonally. So I'm going to move that up here, which means that, yeah, it's now moving the knight in to block the threat. And I'll move that through. There's a light squared and a dark squared bishop, which means that the bishops can't ever move on the other squares. So I'm going to, I did what was just called a fork. By moving the queen forward and threatening the king, they've got to move the king out of the way, which means that I can then capture the rook, which you want to avoid. I'm going to capture the pawn here and free up the king in the move and capture the other rook as well. And I've got time at the moment to demonstrate another one of the special moves. This one's called castling. So if a king hasn't moved and a rook hasn't moved, the king can swap spots with them. I won't go into the exact details for them, but it allows one of the few moves, or it's the only move where 2 pieces can move at once. There's another special move, seeing as their pawn has just moved 2 squares forward. If I had a pawn either here or here, I could then capture the pawn there as if it only moved 1 square. But I won't go too much into that at the moment. So I want to try and avoid a stalemate. So I'm going to move the pieces up. And so no matter what the white did from this position, or does from this position, it can't lose it can't win. Move the king over to attack the queen, then the rook threatens it, and that would then be the capture. Game over. Same with the other way. And then moving to any other square, it's still under threat. Can't capture those pieces, so that's the game over. And that's a quick intro to chess. So puzzles are something that they're from historical games, particularly on lichess, and they have some themes as well, which should come up at the end of it. It shows what games they were taken from. At the end of games, computer goes over them to see if it can find any moves or sections of it that is worth. Very interesting. So now I've got to find the best move for black. I get a chance to find a solution. So I'll advance the rook all the way down, because if I do that, it can't be threatened by anything. And yeah, if I move the is something I've got to think about a little bit. No, if I capture that. The other option I thought was threatening there. And I have to move the king out of the way. And I'm threatening the king, so I get a chance as well to say whether I like or dislike the puzzle. In this case, I'm going to move to threaten the queen. And in this case, I think the goal is to just grab a free piece, to take advantage of a piece. So at the end of the puzzle, we've got what's known as an ELO rating, or a puzzle rating. People will ask, how strong of a chess player are you? And they might say 2800, which is very high. FIDE rated games, FIDE being the national chess, sorry, not national, international chess governing body. At the moment, if you would start a new account, you'd get 1500, and this is a measure of how well you are at playing puzzles. So there's move the rook down. That's not going to cover it. Okay, so that moves across and then threatens the king. Then king can't go anywhere else, and the rook's protected. I'm not too sure about these. So the king can capture, but it has to evade, where then the next move is checkmate. Okay. The best option at the moment would be, I guess, to put the king into check. At the moment, the pawn here is covering both those squares, so the king wouldn't be able to move into it. And the bishop would cover the rook if I moved across, so it should be checkmate, that one. For this one, I'm not too sure. But I think I know what's going on. I've got a theory. If I move the knight to capture this piece, then I threaten the king and the rook. And if they move the pawn out of the way, then I can go up and capture their rook. So I'll put the thumbs up to that one. I won't worry about analyzing this yet. And then I'll swap into one of the puzzle dashboard. So I've played mini games before this, and in the last 30 days, 22, and it gives my performance rating for each area, whether it's advanced pawn, traction, checkmate, deflection, discovered attack, endgame, kingside attack, middle game, and sacrifice. And I have a list of improvement areas in games I've got to replay, so I'll go back into one of those, which should be one of the ones I've just done. No, don't really remember that one. So it's got a way for you to look at all of these different games and analyze it, and effectively cut straight to the chase. So there's a few other options as well for puzzle streaks, storm, and races. I guess I'll jump into racer. I don't want to join specific ones, so I'll join a public race. So it's 4 of us and we're all going to get the same puzzles once it kicks off.
Zero.
So here I've got the queen and the rook that's forked. I move the rook all the way down, can threaten that way. Here I can put it under threat and not be risky, but then I can move up to there. That's covering. I don't quite get what's... Okay, so now I can promote. Yep, I've got that one. No, I should have moved the queen across. Okay. So for this one, do that, fork the king and the queen, and then take their opponent's queen. I've got, sorry, 14 seconds on the clock. Lost a bit of time. Let's put the king in check and then go all the way downtown. Yep, let's pretty much make a move. So I came last out of all of the people there, but I spent a bit of time explaining. Probably wouldn't have been much better if I was giving all of my example to it. But instead, I'll move on to Puzzle Streak. So we want to solve progressively harder puzzles and build a win streak. It's no clock, so I can take whatever time we want. One wrong move and the game is over. But I do have an option to skip any single game, see if I can get a high score. Let's move for white. And that would be rookie move number 1. Rookie mistake number 1. I got the board orientation wrong, thinking that the pawn was going to advance that way. All right. See about walking the king and the queen. And then move the queen all the way through. Move the queen across. The queen's still protected there. She can then go one further and then I can move across for checkmate, okay? I'm going to sacrifice a rook here, and they've got a capture, but I can then capture the queen. I'm going to see about doing something similar again, forcing the king to go out of the way. I was trying to and capture the rook, but I think the next move is to go this way. Not too sure what to do here. I think I might have to play the skip card. I'm going to skip. All right, so I haven't skipped the whole puzzle, just the move. I think, yeah, I'm up. I think I'm up a bishop now, and that is okay. All right, and then I'll touch on the last one, which is a puzzle storm. In this case, so it's helpful little about puzzle storm. Each puzzle grants a point. The goal is to get as many points as you can before the time runs out. Always play the same color during a storm run. The correct move fills the combo bar. When it's full, I get a time bonus. I can increase the value of the next bonus. 5 moves, I get 3 seconds, 12, 5, 30 moves, 10 seconds, and then 10 seconds for every other 10 moves. Play a wrong move, lose it all. Okay. Let's go. Keep pressure up, and then I should be able to checkmate through there. Gets me a threat without. Should be able to capture. Be up, yeah. Let's go for it. No, double check isn't going to work. Okay. Queen to the back rank should. Not too sure at the moment, but there's a free bishop there. No. That should be a checkmate here. It's protected by the king. Yep. Well, a new monthly high score, but I don't think I played in the last month, so it's almost going to be a given. Aside from vanilla chess, there's a couple of variants as well. There's Crazy House. Sorry, I've still got to keep trying minimize the number of I say here. In Crazy House, a game where any piece you capture defects over to your side, and instead of making a move when it's your turn, you could place that piece on any square. You can't put pawns straight onto the back rank, but otherwise it's all good. And Chess 960, that comes from the possible combinations of randomization. So where we've got the default board setup, people keep learning with the positions from the starting positions there, and the few follow-up opening moves. Whereas Chess 960, if you've got the pieces in a random order, it's hard to memorize all those combinations. So I think Bobby Fischer was the original creator. He has the belief that if you're better at that, then you learn the fundamentals of the game. King of the Hill has the 4 squares in the middle, so you can still checkmate the opponent the same way as usual and win the game, but also the 4 squares in the middle, if you get a king to the middle, then you win the game that way as well. 3 check means that if you check your opponent's king 3 times, then you've won as if it was a checkmate. Anti-chess is an interesting variant where the aim of the game is to lose. So if you can capture a piece, you must. Kings lose their royal powers. So checks don't exist there, and if the king is captured, the game continues as usual until all of the pieces are gone. Atomic chess, if a piece captures another piece, then any other piece in the squares adjacent also go, unless the pawns. I believe I could be a bit wrong on that, so just Horde is variant where the one side, the white side, has I think 36, 38 pawns at a definite unfair advantage with a lot of pawns, and the other side has the standard piece layout as well. Racing Kings is a different variant as well. It's got a few other rules, and I'll jump right into that now, where our goal is to get the king to the other side. I'm playing white, so I'm going to go straight down and try and turn it into a bit of a race. But they can move. If they don't do it, I'll do it next. Once you can't deliberately put your king into check. They should be able to capture my rook with that one. So I'm going to reinforce and should trap the king, I believe. And once I get the king across the line, I won't be able to move into this square. And then, but I'll be able to win. So I'll do a rematch for that one. I'm playing black this time, so I can't move across. But I can move this knight across. Sorry, this knight across, but I can't move the other one because I can't put the opponent's king into check. But I'm going to see about capturing their queen. Now move the rook across and avoid that. And can't unmask my rook to attack their king, sorry. But I wanted to get rid of this one. So now I've got rid of that one, I'll start moving the king. And they've done it again, but this time I'll move the second rook out. And if they want to capture it, then I'll capture as well. It's a bit of a combination of a game of playing pieces and then a bit or getting the king across the line. I'll block with the rook. Move across and to free up the square. And should be able to take it there. So I'll go back to the main section of it. You can go back to a different game if there's anyone in chat that wants to see a specific game played. More than happy to play a different variant. And I'll swap onto anti-chess as well. The computer that we're playing has got 8 different levels to not very hard to beat, very easy to beat actually, to almost impossible. And start with an opening that isn't favored in chess at all. So I've got to capture a piece with the king, so I'll do it, and then consequently they've also got to capture the piece. So I'm now going to start no, they're forcing me to take it. That bishop has played a nice reverse card on me. So I'll get the king to capture it on that one as well. I'll get the knight out, I should be able to get it to keep capturing pieces as long as I can move them for it to capture. Puts it in range of the bishop. Then should be able to force it to take en passant. And then I should be able to put it in the way of the bishop which they're going to move. But one of the advantages of, I said, the kings lose royal power in this game is that I can now promote my pawn to a king. And I think that means I can, I don't have the restriction of not having to put myself in check, so I can go through and do that. I'll go back to main menu. And Crazy House, I think, was one of the ones that didn't quite make sense. So let's go again. Here we've got the spaces that we've got for our pieces that we capture. I'm going to straight away threaten their queen. Don't think this is playing good chess, great chess, if that makes sense. Let's see if I can bring this to a quick end. The knight's still going to be able to capture. In fact, I think it has to capture. And the other knight will capture if I revert the same thing with the queen, so... Oh well, start capturing other pieces then. So now they've placed the queen, but I'll put it straight there, get it captured. Placed a pawn to threaten. Well, I'll advance here. Let's try this. They've got the rook out of the way. I can push the queen and grab the rook as well. No, putting the rook there won't finish the game because the king can retreat. I think anyone who looks at this game afterwards is going to say, yeah, could have finished 20 moves ago. There we go. That finishes it up. So go back to puzzles for a bit. There's nothing really jumping out at me in this one, sorry. The best move for black, well, I'm going to move this across and then I'm going to capture it and it's going to lose it, but I'm then going to be able to promote to a queen. Yeah, I wasn't too sure of the rationale for that one, so check the king and then cut the escape off, force it into the lane, and then checkmate it with the rook. Okay, I'll do one last one, and which I think is just going to be a mate in one. Well, mate in two. I think I'll wrap up. I'm just feeling a bit more tired than I thought I'd be, and I'll wrap it up on a win and review this and come back to it later. Hopefully there's a lot less ums. I'll look to do some more videos later. So have a good night.